Good morning, Steve Weber here, host of the American Gumption Morning Show, being broadcast on Spirituality Gone Wild and the American Gumption Facebook page and my personal Facebook page, and also on YouTube. So thanks for joining us this morning. All righty, so today is Wednesday, September 2nd, and hey, we're already 2 days into September. Time marches on. Been kind of overcast the last couple of days here in the east, but the temperatures are cooler, which I like. And so today I have all the windows closed, not because it's cold, but because there's a tree being cut down out in the front yard, and they're using a chipper and it's making lots of noise. So I've locked myself in to try to not hear the distraction of that. So, alrighty, let's get right into things today. We have a guest, Natalie Dormier from France, and she is a membership site expert. She is also my coach and mentor on how to build a membership site. So we'll be talking about that coming up at somewhere around 20 or 25 past the hour. She'll be joining us. And then I wanted to, before I get into that, the next thing I want to thank Nikki Roscoe for joining us yesterday. We had a great show. We talked about crystals. So go ahead, if you missed that, go ahead back and see the replay. And I see Natalie has already joined us, so she'll just have to. She's in the green room getting ready, and so we'll make our monologue fairly quick today, and then we'll get right into the guest into chatting with her. So, alrighty. But yeah, Nikki, if you missed Nikki's talk on crystals yesterday, go back and watch the replay of that. That was great. So it's a little bit of a global gumption week we have going. We had Nikki from England yesterday, and now we have Natalie today from France. So we're going global gumption this week. All right. Let's see. And so my monologue is going to be how to skin a cat, the many ways to skin a cat. And I've done a little research on that phrase. It's kind of a funny phrase, but growing up in America, we all know, what that means. So I'll talk about that. And I got a movie life lesson, and it's, hey, there's in many ways to skin a cat. Well, there's also many ways to cook shrimp. So Bubba will be sharing that with us, and we'll talk about that. Later this week, tomorrow we have Sarah Elkins. She's the author of Your Stories Don't Define You, but How You Tell Them Well. Here is her book. Your Stories Don't Define You, How You Tell Them Well. And this is a great read, and I've been enjoying this, and we're going to dig into how we end up talking to ourselves. And not only just talking to ourselves, but how we talk to others and tell the stories about ourselves really does set a stage. So she's going to help us with that tomorrow. All righty. Friday, I don't have a specific guest, although I believe it's going to be someone from the We Empower You webinar that's going to be happening, virtual seminar next Wednesday. And I will be one of the breakout speakers for that. And so we believe Bettina Carey, who is the founder and the driving force behind it, maybe she'll join us again. She was here a week or so ago, and or there's some other people that will be speaking, and we're going to try to get some of them on Friday, Tuesday, and even on Wednesday, the day of the event. So that's tentative. I do have Monday. I'm going to speak with Earl Pova. And Earl and I have tried to get this to happen the last couple of weeks. He lives on an island in British Columbia, so he doesn't have great internet connection. And he's going to be in Vancouver. So that's Labor Day. We'll go live if we can make that indeed happen. I'll know in advance, although I don't know it now. I won't do a show if I can't I'll take the day off. But if I can get Earl to go and connect when he's in Vancouver, then that's what we're going to do. So tentatively on Monday, Labor Day, we'll be broadcasting. And then next Thursday, Sue Phillips, who is a fragrance and scent expert. So she's made a career out of the nose, the scent, and fascinating story. I met with her yesterday, and very excited to bring her story next Thursday. All righty. So we have a life lesson. Let's go ahead and jump right into that. Let's see if I remember how to do this. Here we go. And this is many ways to cook shrimp. scene number 9 from the movie, of the 94 best scenes from the movie as determined by me. Here we go. There are many ways to cook shrimp. Hi, I'm Steve Weber, and there are many subtle different ways that I can introduce the 94 best scenes and life lessons from the movie Forrest Gump. Here is scene number 9 of our video series that celebrate the 25th anniversary of the movie.
Anyway, like I was saying, shrimp is the food of the sea. You can barbecue it, boil it, broil it.
There is more than one way to skin a cat, and there's more than one way to solve a problem.
Gumbo, pan fried, deep fried, stir fried.
All roads lead to Rome. There is no single way to get someplace.
Pepper shrimp, shrimp soup, shrimp stew, shrimp salad, shrimp and potatoes, shrimp burger, shrimp sandwich. That's about it.
There are many ways to cook shrimp. There is no one right way or wrong way to prepare shrimp. Bubba named what seemed to be hundreds of ways to prepare shrimp. It went on for days. In the movie, Bubba named only 22 different ways to prepare shrimp. But the point was made. There are many ways to prepare shrimp. It takes gumption to know that there is more than one way to solve any challenge. Do you want to be more Gump-like? Be creative. Think of the many ways that you can solve any challenge. Think of the many ways that you can prepare shrimp. Let's learn to live our lives with gumption. All righty, so that is indeed the life lesson from the movie today. How to prepare shrimp. That was a great scene from the movie, and I had it at number 9 as far as the best scenes. People loved it. They would, kids would come up, and adults would come up, and they go fried shrimp, barbecued shrimp. They'd want me to name them, and there was a time when I could go through all 22 of the shrimp. I had it memorized. I haven't done that in a while, so I don't know if I'd stumble around a little bit, but today's monologue is going to be how to skin a cat, and it actually has to do with what we're going to talk about with Natalie and the membership sites. There's many ways to build a membership site. So I got to thinking about, there's many ways to skin a cat, and I you grow up and you just know what these things mean, and it means that, hey, there's many ways to skin a cat. There's no one way to do things. You can do anything in a variety of ways. And so I thought about it a little bit this morning, and I was like, well, what's the origin of that? We never actually skinned any cats. Nobody did that. And so anyway, I did some research, and let's see, here's this, I found this website called the Worldwide Words. And so here, I'm just going to read a little bit from it, and it'll give us a little bit of history. So back in the 1850s, 1855, Charles Kingsley, an author of Westward Ho, he wrote, "There are more ways of killing a cat than choking it with cream." And another version of that was, there are more ways of killing a cat than choking it with butter. So somehow the idea that you could kill a cat with either cream or butter somehow got going. Well, that was in the 1850s from England. And then over in our country, in the United States, Mark Twain in 1889, his book, A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court, 1889, "She was wise, subtle, and knew more than one way to skin a cat. That is, more than one way to get what she wanted." That's really the expression, the way I knew it. It's like, hey, there's many ways to get something done, more than one way to get it done. So anyway, that was Mark Twain introducing that here in the United States. And there was another, earlier than that, there was somebody, Seba Smith, who wrote, "There is a money-digging world. Oh, this is a money-digging world of ours. And it is said, there are more ways than one to skin a cat." And that was really meaning that there's more ways that one can find to dig out money, to make money. And so that ties in with what we're going to talk about with Natalie too, in these membership sites. So anyway, I just thought it was interesting. I went through that and, found some old, references and how the things come about being in their language. But, as a kid, you just grow up, your mother says, hey, there's more than one way to skin a cat. It basically told you, go get out there and go figure it out. Well, really, it's about gumption, having the gumption to figure something out. And you can do it in any number of ways that you want. So that's what I was, thinking about it when I designed today's monologue. Now, on my own personal journey, I wanted to just share when I started with being Forrest Gump back in 1996, there was not a whole lot of role models for me to emulate. I was pretty much forced to figure that out on my own. And I had some people that I was talking with who, they were friends and they advised me different things, but I essentially ended up learning it all by myself just by doing it. And it was actually not that hard and difficult to do, just because I was committed to it and dedicated to it, and I was having fun doing it, and so I did that. Now, what's interesting is I think, and I only thought about this, in the last, couple of 24 hours when I was preparing this monologue. When I went to become a speaker at the end of my Forrest Gump career, so in the late 2000s, 2006, 7, 8, 9 timeframe, really 9, 10 was when I really got into it. I thought, okay, how do I become a speaker? I had become an entertainer and I had become Forrest Gump just by throwing myself into it and not even hardly thinking about it, just going and doing it. And then I became a speaker. Well, in this case, I was still working for Bubba Gump. I had an income coming in from that. So I was working doing that. And I started thinking about, well, how do I become a speaker? And there's hundreds of speakers and there's hundreds of coaches who will tell you how to do this. And I hired many of them and I consulted with many of them who just where you have conversations. And as I was thinking about it this morning, I can now look back and see that I listened to way too many people and I got way too many opinions on how to do it. And I got too much advice on how to do it. And I ended up getting confused as far as what I wanted to do. So, you can paralyze yourself into inaction and into not being able to decide because you're hearing all of these different opinions. And then you get stuck in your head and you're thinking, well, is this one better than this idea? And what about this? And then you end up asking more and more and more people about how to get something done. And nothing got done. Now, it's not true that nothing got done. I ended up developing my message and it took a while. And I ended up finally coming to the point that I'm not listening to anybody else. I'm going to just go do it myself. So, and then that's really when I finally just started listening to my own internal guide and, what is the right thing to do? So how does one balance, getting advice on how to, start a new business, and how does one balance just listening to your own internal self? Because, internally you kind of have an idea of what you want to do, but other people have done it. And so they have good ideas and suggestions. And so it is that balancing thing. So anyway, that was really what I guess really what I'll just sum it up by saying is learn to trust yourself, your inner guide, your connection with the universe and your inner knowing. Now, what's interesting today, as I'm embarking on my American Gumption journey, I did a little bit of that asking and testing in terms of like, what do people like? But I more often than not, I've been trusting my own instincts better than I did certainly when I started my speaking career 10 years ago. And so what's happening is I'm getting different advice from people, but I'm limiting the amount of people that I'm listening to, and I'm basically just trying to take action and get things done and not worry too much about like having the exact right way to do something, as opposed to, and have someone tell you how to do it. We want to be told what to do. It's comforting if someone says, okay, here's what you do. But those people typically have, jobs where they perform a specific task, and then they get instructions, and there's, they're good worker bees. There are people who thrive in that kind of an environment. And then there's other people who have a little more of an entrepreneurial idea where they want to kind of invent it and make it up themselves. And so if you're in that making it up yourself point of view, you just have to go make it up. You don't have to listen to everybody. And in most cases, and what I realized when I look back at my speaking career and the advice that I got was these people were giving me good advice from their perspective, but they didn't know what I wanted to do. And so they would end up saying things that actually were not really very, very good advice for me. And it took a long time to figure that out. And, so anyway, attempting to, as I go out in the world of American Gumption. So doing this broadcast, I just sort of started doing it. I didn't have a lot of time to think about it. And now I'm learning a little bit from some of the other people on the Spirituality Gone Wild broadcast team, and watching the way they do it, getting some ideas that way. But basically I just launched the show without any real feedback there. So anyway, I think that's going to be today's monologue. I'll wrap that up since Natalie is in the green room and more or less ready. I think we could ask her to come join us here in just a minute or so. How does that sound? She's giving a thumbs up. That looks like she's ready. She's being escorted now out of the green room and into the broadcast studio. And here she is. Are you? Whoops. No. There she is. All right.
Hi, Steve.
How are you today?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be on your show.
Good. Thank you. Yeah. I was telling my father this morning that you'd be joining me, because the last few months I would say to him, I said, I have a call with Natalie. And I would say, she's in France, so I'm going to go up and he says, France. And so this morning I was reminding him that Natalie is from France, but I know you're not in Paris. Where are you?
So I am in Toulouse, south of France, southwest.
Okay. And is that where you were originally born? Is that the region that you and your husband came from? No.
Not at all. Not at all. Short story, very short story. We moved to the US right after school. We are high school, sweethearts. So we moved there right after school, and we stayed there for 10 years, and we moved back to France to start our own business. And we chose Toulouse, south of France, because of the weather. We don't know anyone. We didn't know anyone here. We just chose the place.
But 15 years later, many, many people.
We know quite a few people. Yeah.
All right. Well, here's how we're going to do this. I have a short little intro that I would like to read and let people know. And then, because you are a first-time guest, we have a special theme song or welcoming song that we play for anybody who's a first-time guest. And then after that plays, we'll get into the interview. Can you sit patient for another minute or so?
Of course, I sure can.
All righty. Well, let me tell people about you. Natalie has more than 20 years of experience as a software engineer. She is the co-creator of a multi-six-figure business serving entrepreneurs and public figures. And her specialties are really in the area of sales, process automation, marketing automation strategy, WordPress development, and e-course setup. And she's helping me in all of those things. So we'll talk about that. And then here's something I ended up getting off of the website, and you shared part of the story, but I'll just go ahead and repeat it anyway. It says, we're Natalie and Oliver, but wait, I have to add one more thing here. Hold on. Oops, that's not it. That's not it. Yes, here we go. So yes. we are Natalie and Oliver, your membership experts, also known as Nat Oli for short. I like that. That's very clever. And it says they met in France in college a long time ago. And after graduation, they packed their bags and went to live the American dream in California. And your families thought that you guys were crazy. Oops, wait, I want you on screen too. There you are.
I'm
Now,
here. I'm here.
now we got the right one. Good. I said, and so 10 years later, 2005, with great jobs in the biotech industry in the Silicon Valley, a home downtown San Francisco, and a chalet in the mountains, they decided to sell it all and move the whole family, 3 kids, 2 dogs, and a cat, back to France to start their own business. Kind of crazy, right?
It is. It was.
And so anyway, after many learning experience, it was started out as a rocky road. They finally found their purpose. 3 years ago, they really started helping entrepreneurs create successful memberships. And after helping close to 300 entrepreneurs one-on-one, they're embarking on a new journey and building their own community. And that is how I met Natalie, as I was invited to be part of the community, and I joined in, and we've been meeting for about 3 months now. And the way it works is there's a 1 hour, well, a couple times a week, there's an hour block, and you can just log in and meet, and that's how it works. So anyway, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Oh, but I have to play
the song. I want to hear the song now.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. I forgot to play that. Here we are.
Wow. What an entrance. I feel like I won a medal in the Olympic Games or something.
Well, good. Yeah. Welcome to the show, Natalie.
Thank
welcome.
you.
Is this the first time you've ever appeared? Is this the first time you've ever had a marching band welcome you onto a show?
Definitely. And I will remember it. Yes, definitely.
Well, good. Well, hey, we can kind of just jump in and just have some fun. You've been helping me the last several months. I have a vision of my own membership site, but more importantly, I wanted you to share a little bit about how, after you came back to France, how did you and Oliver really end up narrowing it down to become membership site experts?
So it's really been a combination of different things. One is looking at the type of clients that we were getting and that we were really enjoying, working with. And the second one is really going through the deep work of figuring out what it is that you really want to do. So I've done a lot of work on myself, on my self-development and mindset, to really realize that there was something that was really calling me to do, and I could tell every time I would talk about it, that would light me up, and people would tell me, and that is that I've realized, and I want everybody to know, that a recurring membership, is one of the best business models to create financial stability for someone, whether you are a solopreneur or you're a bigger company. And my goal is to show people that we all have at least one membership idea inside of us, because we are all experts in something, or we are a father or a daughter or a sister or a friend. We have learning experiences where we've learned something that we can share, that other people could really benefit from knowing. So, and there is a way to monetize that and to create a community around it, if that's what you want to do.
when we met, I was under the impression that you were only building websites for people. And so I remember you offered a free consultation, and I knew you from the Access Ally community, and I liked the work you were doing because when people would ask questions, I would pay attention to the different people who answered the questions, and you always would give the answer. And some of the other people who were giving answers were like saying, "Oh, we could talk about that," but they really didn't give the answer. They invited the people to connect personally, and that's all fine. But I just appreciated that. Oh, this woman knows what she's doing because she's just giving the answer, and it made it attractive for me to want to reach out directly to you. And so there's different ways that we can sell. We can sell by being helpful. And in this case, you never asked me to give you a call. You were just being helpful to others. And so I hesitated because I thought, well, Natalie and Oliver only want to build these things, from the ground up. And really what I wanted to do was have a guiding hand to help me. And so after we spoke for a little bit, you said, "Oh, well, here's the membership site. And, there's a monthly fee to be part of it, but it's not very expensive. And then you log into these calls and that was just like, it was the answer to my prayers at the time. So I thought it was great.
Yeah, there are like different ways of selling. I like to say that I don't sell. I actually enroll people into their own ideas. So I talk to people, and I talk to a lot of people every week, right? And I'm all about helping and sharing what I know. And I know that it will come back to me. Maybe not through that person, maybe through somebody else. The business comes to us. I don't do any reach. I don't need to. I don't have to. I don't like to. I hate to be salesy. I mean, if I had to try to sell to somebody, I would probably suck at it because I hate doing it. However, if you have a problem and I can help you and it's around my expertise, then it's going to light me up to be able to support you. And then you get to decide if you want to hire me or not. Either way is fine. And that's how I run my business. So the moment I understood that I don't have to be salesy, I just have to be very clear about what I am good at. And actually I started a 30-day live today. And the first thing is like believing in what you can do. Then the sky's the limit. It's like, because you have a problem, I might have a solution. Do you want it? Yes or no?
I saw your 30-day live today.
Okay.
I was just waking up and still laying in bed, I think, and I turned it on, and it was just a short little message. But it really was all about mindset, is what you were talking about. It wasn't about building WordPress membership sites or anything like that. It really was about believing in what it is that you want to offer people, and how do you get clear on that? And I touched on it in my monologue, where I really wasn't sure when I started my speaking business what I wanted to do or how to do it. And so I reached out to a whole bunch of people, and I confused myself to the point where I created kind of more problems than I ultimately knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't trust myself enough to go do it back then. Fast forward to today, I feel like I have the American Gumption brand and this show and the traveling out across the country the next couple of years. This feels like this is what I'm supposed to do. And in my case, the membership site will support that, in the sense that it'll be where all of the content resides, and people who are interested in this will be able to see the interviews, and it'll be organized in a way that it makes it nice and easy for people to consume the content. So this is the belief, and we've been talking about it, but
absolutely. I think it all starts there. It really all starts there. You were talking earlier about trusting your intuition, which you totally should. But I think there is also a fine line between asking people for advice, because like you said, there are many ways to do things, but not all the ways are going to be working for you. So, and that's one of the things that I see all the time, because, I hang out a lot online, helping people, supporting people on various Facebook groups. And people always say, what do I need to use for my membership? What is the best tool? And then you have everybody sharing what they use, and the person is left even more confused. And I always reply, it depends. What are you trying to do? I'm a tech person, I'm a developer, but honestly, the tech is just the tech. If you got your message nailed down, you can pretty much use any platform, it will work. It might not work as well, but you will be able to make money and it will work. So at the end of the day, the tool is just the tool, and people focus too much on that. And I tell them, it's like asking, what car should I buy? And I want to ask them, how many kids do you have right now? How many more do you plan to have? Do you live in the mountain? Like I need to know certain things, right? Some tools are good for some stuff and not others. So when people say, oh, I use this and it's great, it's the best. No, it's not. It's the worst possible advice that you can give someone. So never ask around until you really know what you want. This is what I'm looking for. These are my absolutely must have, and these are my nice to have. Do you guys have any suggestion? Because now you can compare things, based on what you actually need, not what people are using and feel is great.
Let's start at kind of the ABCs. Can you just give people who maybe don't even know what a membership site is, what is a basic membership site, and what would be like maybe 2 or 3 different models of it? So kind of from a real high level point of view.
Sure. Yeah. So actually we've been talking, we've been saying the word membership, but to many people, they have no idea what it is. So a membership is, for example, Netflix, right? Where you pay every month to get access to something. So in our online world, a membership subscription is basically when somebody is going to be paying you every month or every quarter or every year to get access to some content, a community, or a combination of that, okay? So that can be online videos and things like that. So you can have example of subscriptions or subscriptions that teach you a skill, how to paint, how to draw, how to run a marathon, things like that. So this is one type of membership. The idea of the word membership is ongoing payment to ongoing access to content and people until you decide to cancel on your own, okay? So that's what creates the recurring revenue. Another model, for example, is community-based. So think of the people that are, for example, trying to lose weight and that have diabetes. I'm just totally making this up, okay? But you could join a membership where you have a combination of maybe recipes and lessons on how to cook, how to exercise properly, and then maybe a community of other people, like a safe place that you've created of other people that are just like you, okay? And people are willing to pay for that, to have access to curated great information and to have access to other people in a safe environment where they can support each other. So that's the second one. Another one can be, for example, so that's one that we see a lot in businesses, business to business membership, is memberships where you pay in exchange for some type of content that's delivered to you. So there are quite a few memberships, for example, where every month you get what we call a bundle, and that bundle is a mix of content. It can have a video, it can be on a specific topic. So let's say, for example, you could do, that's not what you do, Steve, but like you could do a recurring membership where every month it's one specific topic that you want to talk about from the movie, for example, and then it would have a video, an audio, and maybe a little PDF that they can download with a couple of questions that, you know, they can answer. And every month is a new theme, and they get this new bundle. And as long as they pay, they get access. So to get access, you log into a website. They give you a username and a password. And when you log in, you see the past content and you see what's new. And then if you want to cancel, there is usually a button for you to cancel payment. So that's what a membership is. The whole idea behind it is to make a bigger impact and being able to share your knowledge or your expertise with a very large number of people, much larger than locally in your community, online to, you know, internationally, basically, in a way that's totally leveraged for you in terms of your time. Because even if you do calls, like weekly calls like I do, whether we have 5 people or 100 people, it's still 1 hour of my time. So that is very leveraged to me. So that's the whole idea of a membership. How do you make a bigger impact with whatever you know?
We have I'm going to throw a comment up here on the stage or on the screen. Our co-founder of Spirituality Gone Wild is Debbie G, and it says she's using Kajabi for her brand new membership site for the Spirituality Gone Wild side. And I've seen it and it looks great. Obviously, there's different tools that people can use, but tell about sort of the all-in-one versus the, you know, kind of piecing different things, different models.
Great question. So I am a WordPress gal, okay? But I also believe that there is a place for all-in-one platforms. So what we're talking about here is essentially, for people listening, there are like two ways that you can build this online platform. You can use platforms that are already built where you put in your content, or you can get it built in a way that's more customized. There is no right and wrong. It's just for a different target. But there is a mistake that a lot of people make. If you want to go with an all-in platform that's already made, my recommendation, because I've built a lot of platform and I've moved a lot of people from platform to platform. If you want to use an all-made platform, then pick the platform, learn all the features that it has, all the things that it can do as well, and then build your business around it. Right? Because what you get is what you get. So you're paying for the all-in-one because you don't want to get it built, but that's what you get. If you want to add one more thing and it doesn't do it, you won't be able to do it. So pick the tool, build your business around it. Okay? On the other hand, which is the people that I work with, and that's what they want, they don't want to rent space, because this is kind of like renting space. You put content on the platform, but stop paying and see what happens. You lose your content, right? And let me just say that whether you run a business on one or the other, both work, okay? It's just a matter of where do you want to place the engagement and the customization in terms of experience that you want to build. And that differs based on the type of membership that you do. Some memberships don't require that you have that level of engagement and gamification and progress tracking. Others require that you do. Okay. For example, Steve, for what you do, I cannot imagine you going to a different platform, right? But for some people, it makes total sense. So that's why I'm like, I don't hate Teachable. I don't hate Thinkific. I don't hate Kajabi. It's just that it's not for the people that I track, because they're like, no. I want a custom onboarding experience. I want a quiz. I want progress tracking. I want a surprise deliver bonuses to reward people when they've completed something. You know, they want to build these things, and it's not for everyone, but that's basically where this custom platform, come into play.
Even WordPress has lots of different options for people to go in and just have kind of a, like Wix would be an example of it, where you just basically use their model and then you fill your content in, and it's a much quicker, easier way to get up and running. And so this technology can be overwhelming if you get caught down in the weeds with it. And I've been a little bit guilty of that, myself. And, but my goal, which I hopefully is that I want to become very good at like interviewing and having this. And I wanted to build the platform in a way that made sense for me. But my goal would be to have somebody take care of all this behind the scenes for me as the show grows. But also be able to communicate properly, because my experience from back in 2009, having a WordPress site built, was I ended up spending a whole lot of money. And then once it was built, it was like I couldn't even go in and modify it and change it at all. And so I almost felt handcuffed at that point. And so I ended up taking some WordPress classes and learning how to do it. And then I got into content marketing and CRMs. And I had the time when I was, in that last 10-year period where I was, I had the ability to learn some of these things. So I'm more a do-it-yourself model person at this point. But really what I want to do is just do it yourself, manage it, as opposed to do it yourself, actually do it. So
yeah,
that's my goal.
And it's, WordPress, people think WordPress is free, WordPress is easy. There are tutorials. Yes, there are. But my advice to somebody who really wants to do it themselves and don't want to hire is don't go with WordPress.
Right.
Go with focus on your marketing, focus on building your audience. Honestly, you can start selling before you build it, literally. Yeah. And that will validate your idea right there. People focus on the tech, and then once it's all built, they start selling, and then they hear cricket and they make no money. So you can pre-sell, like early bird access at a special price. And that's a perfect valid way, right? The mistake that a lot of people make is they try to do it themselves. And like you said, Steve, they get into the rabbit hole of learning, this theme and this plugin, that plugin, exactly what Debbie is saying, plugins and plugins and plugins. And you can get drowned into that because there are like, I don't know, 40,000, 20,000 plugin, 40,000, I don't know. There is a plugin for almost everything, which is amazing. And it's not because it's there and it's available that it's for you to do. Your zone of genius is not to learn WordPress. It's to be out there getting your message.
That's right. And so, Debbie G, again, is the co-founder of Spirituality Going Wild. So we have the big boss watching us this morning, checking in, and she has used WordPress and the plugins, but then for the membership site, she said, we just have to simplify this. We got to get this thing up and running. And she did in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, exactly. And I tell people, if it's to get it off the ground, pick something, but don't I've seen people work on it for like 6 months to a year, and they finally come to us and they say, well, it's not quite right.
Yeah.
Right? No, it's not quite right. You can't expect to do the work that professionals do. I've been in school for that. I have, the diploma in ergonomics, for this type of stuff. So you can't expect to have that level of results. So great. I always say, great now is better than perfect never.
Right.
And it's people, trying to reach for that perfection. And there are many people, I talk to, and I don't preach for my choir, but at the end, I want people that are going to be successful. I don't want to be selling a membership that's going to collect dust, right? And I tell them, build your audience. If you can't build your audience, if you can't build a list of people that are raising their hand and saying, I'm interested in this, who do you plan to sell it to? Right? Exactly. So if you can't get people to say, I'm interested, you don't need to build a membership right now. Focus on that message and get that, right, that messaging right, so that it connects with the right people. The tool, I'm not preaching for my choir, but the tool is just the tool at the end.
Yep. So two ways people work with you and Oliver. New marketing software is your, that is where you kind of build something for a person has an idea, they have an audience, they maybe even have some kind of a platform, but they need some help. And this is where you'll meet with them and you'll be able to basically put the foundation of tools in place for them. Is that correct?
Yeah. So we are actually super niched because our clients are people who already have a business. Mm-hmm. They're already making money. They are super clear on their targets and their offer. And what they need is they need an online portal to add this online offer into their existing business ecosystem. So think of, I already have a course, I already have a coaching program, maybe I'm doing some retreats. And now all these people, if I could funnel them into a recurring membership, then that would be great, right? I could continue to support my past clients and I would create recurring revenue. That's where we come in. Is when people already have a running business and they're like, how do I add an online component to what I already do? And that's where AccessAlign comes in is the best tool for it because it has that flexibility, okay? And so actually what we've done, we do WordPress, but we have created a framework. So we are a bridge between the WordPress, start from scratch, costs an arm and a leg and takes forever, with the Kajabi and the Thinkific. Kartra is another one. Podia is another one. There seems to be one every month that's coming out right now. I don't know if you noticed. But we're like in the middle because we've created these frameworks. You're trying to create your own. So you get what I'm talking about, Steve.
Absolutely.
Right? So, and we start from that every time. And because we've built so many, close to 300 now, we can say, okay, you're a coach. This is how you can do group coaching and then have the call replays here. You have a course, no problem. We can add that, right? So we show them the possibilities and then they're like, oh my gosh, this is so much more than what I thought. And it turns into 99% of the time into this whole online portal where now they have all their offers. So it's like, an business ecosystem that's all online. And there is a synergy now. There is a clear path. Okay, this is where I want people to come in for free to this challenge. Then from the challenge, I invite them to this course. Then after the course, I invite them to this membership so that they can continue to get support in, going through the course and getting the results. And everybody wins there. They get their support, their accountability, they get a community. Yep. You get to continue to support your clients. So it's great for everybody. It's a great business model. And like everybody has at least one idea.
So Debbie G says that's exactly why I hired somebody. And she was building her website for over 3 years, trying to do it herself. And she says, excellent show. Thank you. So thank you, Debbie.
You're welcome, Debbie. Thank you.
Yeah, well, this is great. What's interesting is when you and I met, I was working on this back end and I didn't have the morning show yet, but I had this vision that somehow I was going to get out there and do this. And so then I met Debbie and, within 3 days of her and I meeting, she says, why don't you, I thought she wanted to invite me to be on her show. And she's like, why don't you just have your own show? And so it happened just,
exactly. It's these things create, you also have to be open to these opportunities. I remember when you came on a call one time, you said, well, you know what, this is happening. There is this show. I say, yeah, great. It's all about opportunities. I don't know if I told you, but the membership lab, which is the membership you belong to, I built this for my past clients. It's a back-end membership. Mm-hmm. And then you found it, you saw it, you joined, and I'm like, well, it's supposed to be for the people that I've built a membership for, but why not if I can help them? And now there is you, there is Melanie, there is Rolly. They're like, these people are coming. There is Barry, right? Yeah. So it's evolving, and I'm letting it be.
One of the interesting things that I as these other people like myself who are kind of building it themselves, but need like that, like, okay, I'm stuck here. I need to go. Do I go this direction or this direction? And we love that you are clear about it, because you go, no, you want to go this way, or you ask the right questions to get us to help us decide. But I notice that in the conversations, these people have a lot of confidence about what they're doing with it, but they do need like a guiding hand. And some of the people who I know you've built a site for, they're still it's a challenge for them to really understand and just grasp the basics. Whereas like myself and some of the other people have the basics, and we kind of understand it, but we don't know it enough that we really know whether you turn left or right at a certain crossroad. And that's where the membership lab for me, and I'm guessing for them too, is it's well worth the investment that we pay each month to be part of it, because I go on twice a week. I have a chance to just say, okay, I'm stuck here. Do I turn left or right? And you tell me. And
yeah, I mean, I honestly made the price a no-brainer. Every time I talk about it in my masterminds, they think I'm crazy. Mm-hmm. They say, you're undervaluing yourself. Mm-hmm. And I tell them, I choose to do it this way because it's not my moneymaker. It's not our moneymaker. This is what makes me feel good about saying to a client that we've built, we have a couple of those people, right? Jenny and all these people that come on the call, built sites 2 years ago and asking me for help. I'll say, well, come on the lab. It's 37 a month and right. I'll support you twice a week, right? But I can't do free email support. I have to, right. My client base is too large right now. So this is my way of, because I struggle to say no and I want to help people. So sure. Now I'm like, it's 37. It's $37 for me to help you. And yeah. I'm good with that. And yeah. I'm good with that because.
So just let me help put it in perspective for the listeners. You and Oliver had built, a couple hundred websites for people, but they would come back and you had a fee and you said, okay, for X amount, we'll build and we'll put the whole thing in place. And you did some training and you got them up and running. Now, so you delivered what you promised to them and everything was good. But what happens is 3 months later, 1 month later, 6 months later, they come back and they say, oh, I have one question. And then you want to answer and help them, but you're not charging them for that. But that wasn't really part of the service. And so what happened was you went, I can't sit here and answer questions all day long for my hundreds of clients that I've built. There has to be a way for them to have access to me, but I need to be compensated. So then with 3 hours a week, you created these little blocks of time that people can log into during those 3 hours and they have access to you. And usually there's only, 3 or 4 people on the call. And so it doesn't feel like it's crowded. I always learn from the other people, ask the questions they're asking. Sometimes I don't even have a question and I just hang out because, I'm learning from the other people. So
yeah, exactly. And there are people in there that never come on the call. But at this price point, they are okay to be having me on the calendar and say, if I need her, she's there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Most people don't come. Only people that have questions are in building mode or launching mode. Otherwise, people are busy. And that's what I want them. That's why I say it's open office hours. You come, you ask your question. If you want to leave, you can. You don't have to stay until the end. I value your time too. So.
And there's a membership group that we can post questions on in between the office hours, and you'll typically be able to answer them. It's not quite the same as having the live interaction, because that you can do a screen share and you can show people what's going on a little bit better. I love when you do that, by the way, because all I need is like, now, where was that? Because something.
Exactly.
We just don't have enough knowledge. But you've worked with the software so well. The Access Ally is the membership site software that we're talking about. You're a certified expert with them. There's a whole community of those people of which you're part of and which I'm part of, but this is kind of a specialty group off of that for your own community. The other thing they talk a lot about is courses. And in fact, sometimes I think, this is just occurring to me, sometimes I think Access Ally focuses more on the course idea than on the membership thing, even though the software works equally well for both. Just respond to what I just said there about courses versus membership.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of people get confused with that. So most of the things that we build are memberships, meaning the recurring income, just because this is the people I attract. They want, how do I build a community and I have a bigger impact and create those recurring revenues? So the difference, if you want to talk about the difference between a course and a membership, course is going deeper on a set amount of time, going from point A to point B. Modules, lessons, you have access to everything, or it's dripped every week, but it's very, and sometimes you have, calls for support, with the months, but then when the course is done, it's done.
Right.
A membership is at your own pace. So you can have a course, and then you can have that same course inside a membership, where instead of paying a one-time price like a course, you pay a recurring, but then you take your time. But you always get the calls, the Q&A calls, and things like that. Now, when you do that, of course, the danger is that people never do. Because when people join your membership, you want them to stay, right?
Right. Months
after months. But in order for them to stay, they have to see the value, which means they have to get results. So then you have to build engagement strategies to get them to consume your content and come back regularly. So that's where those strategies come into play. But that's really the difference.
It's a big to be successful. You started out by saying it's a beautiful business model, but it's a business model, and it's not that there's not a lot of work that has to be in place to make it work. And so if the business model is going to work, you don't just throw some content online and then people come in. You need to have engaging content, have it when they're actually doing it, that they are engaged, and then have some kind of a community that people feel like they're part of. So that's an important part. There was one other idea I had where you don't need thousands and thousands of customers to make this business model work. There's some kind of a number that you do need, and that will differ depending on what your pricing structure is. But your community could be, really niched and really small in comparison to the world. And do you want to just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So there is actually, so I do have a monthly recurring revenue calculator that we built. It's something in Excel, because I wanted to show people that when they say, I want to make 5,000 a month with my membership, and the price point is $30, for example, this is how many people you need.
Mm-hmm.
But how long do they need to stay? And I show them in the Excel sheet, because there is a drop down where they can choose how long people stay. That if they stay 2 or 3 months, you get a certain amount of money. But if you can get them to stay 10 months, it's so much more.
Right.
And that's where the power of retention strategy, so that people stay, is very important. The value of a membership to me is not the number of people you have, is how long they stay.
Okay.
And how long they stay is dictated by are they getting the value that was promised.
Right.
Right. So it's really not about the number, I've seen people launch, like, remember when I talked about building this list of people raising their hand and say, I'm ready. Let me know, Steve, when you're ready, right? We call that a waiting list, right? Or like an interest list. Some people have launched with an interest list of 200 people, and 100 people bought because they were the right people. So you can literally convert really, really well if you get the right message to the right people.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's not about the size. We talk about the list size. It's not about the size. It's really about, are they the right people? Do they have the problem that you're trying to solve with your membership?
Right. Well, this is great. We're at the top of getting close to the top of the hour. So we'll cut off today. Maybe we can have you back again as my site develops and we want to just
Sure.
talk a little bit more about this?
Yeah, happy to.
I do really appreciate your coming on to the American Gumption Morning Show, and it was great that Debbie G got to meet
Yes.
you, and she did a fantastic job. I mean, Debbie and I met on July 7th, and that was the day I launched my website, and then within a couple of days, we're talking about it. Within like a week before I even joined, but I said, okay, she says, I'm going to make a membership website. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. And I'm like thinking, oh my gosh. And
It's done.
and the next thing I know, she's got it launched and it's ready to go and it's on Kajabi. So it's that different models that work for different people. And, it's just a great thing. So anyway, I'm just grateful for you, for being one of my coaches and mentors, and for being a great guest today on the American Gumption Show. So please come back again and join us again, okay?
I will. Thank you so much for having me, Steve.
Oh, and one last thing, I'll just say
Yes.
that if you are a do-it-yourselfer where you understand, but you need some help on the back end, especially if you are a membership site with Access Ally, then the Membership Lab is a great opportunity for you. And if you're somebody who is just wanting to build something a little more custom than the do-it-yourself thing, then Natalie and Oliver can help you in newsoftwaremarketing.com. And both of those sites have a way for you to schedule an introduction call to figure out if it works for you guys. So did I miss anything there?
Oh, perfect.
Perfect. All righty. Well,
All right.
thanks
Thank
so
you,
much.
Steve.
Have a great day.
See you
Bye-bye.
tonight, maybe. Bye.
All righty. Well, thank you, Natalie, for joining us today. Hey, we're 1 minute past, so I'll go ahead and wrap this show up. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thanks, Debbie G, for jumping in. And there's a comment here. Maybe Debbie has something else to share with us. Yes, she does. She says, anyway, Debbie's busy. It sounds like she's running right out of here. So, but she did say very cool too. So it was a great to have Debbie be part of our show this morning. All right, everybody. Well, have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, let me make sure I announce our guest one more time. Sarah Elkins, the author of Your Stories Don't Define You, How You Tell Them Will. So this is going to be a great interview. So we'll see everybody tomorrow. Okay, have a great day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.